is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the National Science Day 2025 celebrations. I extend a warm welcome to our Honorable Director, esteemed dignitaries, respected deans, heads of department, all faculty members, and students. I would now like to invite our esteemed dignitaries onto the dais. Director, Professor Director Sri Ramesh Srikonda, President IIC, Professor Dr. Ayar Vijayalakshmi Kasinath, Vice President IIC, Professor Dr. Ayan Kumar Tarafdar, Head Amrit Center for Urban Planning for Capacity Building, Dr. Srinivas Daketi, Head of Department Architecture. National Science Day 2025 event is hosted by the School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, in collaboration with Vigyan Bharati Vibha and Bharati Vigyan Mandali, Andhra Pradesh, under the auspices of the Institute Innovation Cell IIC and Design Innovation Cell DIC, in line with the Ministry of Education, Government of India, with a purpose of systematically fostering the culture of innovation in the institute. This is celebrated every year to commemorate the discovery of the Raman effect by Sir C.V. Raman, a discovery that brought India its first Nobel Prize in Science. This year's theme is Empowering Indian Youth for Global Leadership in Science and Innovation for Viksit Bharat, a vision that aligns with our nation's mission to nurture young minds and foster innovation. And I would like you all to know that to cater this year, we hosted a several competitions related to ideas for education, poster making competition, and innovative idea pitch. Science is not only about research and innovation, it is also about wisdom, ethics, and enlightenment that brings about a better and positive future. And to begin our event on a bright note, I would now invite Miss Prachi for an invocation song.
या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
Thank you, Prachi. Now I would request Dr. Vijayalakshmi ma'am to introduce the chief guest.
A very good morning to all. It is indeed our pleasure, and SPIV is blessed today to have two chief guests with us online. Due to certain unavoidable reasons, our chief guests are not here physically, and therefore we are here on a hybrid mode with our chief guests. Uh, One is Dr. VVSS Sarmaji and Dr. Kailash Rawji. Dr. VVSS Sharmaji is a chief scientist and scientist in charge at CSIR NIO Vishakhapatnam. Dr. Kailash Rawji is the director at SPA Bhopal. After I introduce about the stellar resume of Dr. VVSS Sharma, Dr. Srinivas ji will introduce Dr. Kailash Rawji. So, Dr. Sharma's contribution significantly advanced our understanding of biogeochemistry of the Indian Ocean. Most of his work is to defend the international allegations on India on pollution related aspects, providing suggestions to policymakers and understanding impact of climate change in the marine waters around India. His intensive experiments in Indian estuaries showed the hitherto unknown impact on composition of plankton and food web dynamics due to changes in river discharge, and he cautioned that rerouting river channels and construction of the dam would be detrimental to the estuarine nursery grounds, leading to decrease in coastal fishery potential. He found that the Bay of Bengal oxygen minimum zone is formed naturally by salinity stratification, and these zones are frequently aerated through anticyclonic eddies. He also showed that fertilizers from the Indian subcontinent do not contaminate international waters around, as their impact is limited to waters close to the coast. He provided insights on the route of excess fertilizers and its contamination of the groundwater. Thus, his research significantly disproves the allegation that excess fertilizers from India makes Bay of Bengal as a dead zone. He showed for the first time that CO2 emissions from the Indian estuaries are 60 times lower than that from developed countries. Using the new isotopic techniques, he identified that Noctiluca blooms occurring in the northern Arabian Sea is caused by natural processes than hitherto hypothesized to be due to anthropogenic inputs. Dr. Sarma worked extensively on trace gases fluxes, and results obtained from observation and synthesis helped to estimate trace gas emissions and budgets of the Indian Ocean and their global significance. These results have strong implications on the future ocean biogeochemical modeling of the Indian Ocean and to plan strategies for environmental research in estuarine and coastal ecosystems of India. He chaired a UNESCO committee to prepare surface ocean carbon atlas for the Indian Ocean and evaluating the performance of global carbon models in the Indian Ocean. He collaborated with scientists from South and Southeast Asian scientists to work contribution of trace gas emissions from rivers in the South and Southeast Asia to the global carbon fluxes through the Asia Pacific Network funded project. He is also working with French scientists to work on sources of nutrients in the groundwater through an Indo French Center for Promotion of Advanced Research. He is at present collaborating with NOAA USA on evaluation status of ocean acidification in the Indian Ocean. His research contributions and publications in India have majorly focused on understanding the human activities' influence on the coastal and estuarine ecosystem, impact of policymakers' decisions on the coastal environment, and defending international allegations of India and estimating trace gas fluxes from the aquatic bodies in and from the seas around India. He quantified the variability in carbon dioxide emissions from the Indian Ocean in time and space and described physical and biogeochemical processes are responsible. These studies are of significance in describing the biogeochemistry of the region and planning research with respect to human interference and climate change on the Indian Ocean processes and feedbacks. Dr. Sharma also contributed a white paper on Ocean Decade Vision 2021-2030, Unlock Ocean-Based Solutions to Climate Change to UNSDG. In recognition of his outstanding contributions in the field of ocean science, the Ministry of Earth Sciences honors Dr. V.V.S.S. Sharma with the National Award in the field of ocean science and technology for the year 2020. Recipient of Young Scientist Award from Indian Science Congress and from American Geophysical Union. He is the Fellow of Indian National Science Academy, Fellow of Academy of Science, Fellow of National Academy of Sciences. He is the recipient of the JSPS Visiting Faculty of Nagoya University, Japan, Mercure University, France, Board Member of Andhra University, Banaras Hindu University, and Pondicherry Universities. With such an exemplary resume, we are very happy and proud to have Dr. V.V.S.S. Sharma today as one of our chief guests. May I now welcome Sir, as he is online, to deliver his chief guest address. Because he is not online, he just went offline. Sharma ji. That's what I said. Before we proceed on to a talk by our chief guest, Dr. V.V.S.S. Sharma, let us introduce Dr. Kailash Rao sir. Dr. Srinivas will introduce him to you.
On the special occasion of National Science Day 2025, it is our privilege to welcome an esteemed scholar and expert in the field of architectural conservation and digital documentation, Professor Dr. Kailash Rao, Director of School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. So everyone knows that he has been here as a professor also in SPA Vijayawada. And he holds a PhD from Manipal University, an MArch with specialization in conservation from SPA Delhi, and a bachelor's degree from JNTU Hyderabad. So, with a deep passion for heritage studies, architectural conservation, historic settlement management, and the rediscovery of traditional knowledge systems, his contributions have significantly advanced the heritage management of major religious centers in India. So, we are all aware his special interest in digital documentation techniques, LIDAR and drone 3D mapping, etc., which are revolutionizing the way we study and preserve architectural heritage. So it's his outstanding contributions were recognized with Dr. TMA Pai Endowment Chair for Architectural Conservation for the documentation of Kalyani Chalukya temples in Karnataka, India. So as we celebrate the spirit of scientific innovation and research today, we look forward to hearing his insights on the intersection of science, technology, and architectural heritage. Let us all extend a warm welcome to Professor Dr. Kailash Rao. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We will first we will first have the talk by Dr. V.V.S.S. Sharma and continue on to Dr. Kailash Rao sir. A hearty welcome to both our chief guests. We are indeed indebted that you consented to be our chief guest for today's function. Thank you.
Good morning. Can I continue?
Please, sir.
Okay. Good morning to you all. I'm very sorry that I couldn't able to make it due to the cancellation of the flight. Uh, I would have been very happy to interact with you all for this occasion of the National Science Day. As you know that this year's the slogan was given for the Science Day at the empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science and innovative for the Vikasit Bharat. So we need to know at this time how the science was evolved in our country, the way how we are going toward the developed nation, because the science is the backbone to create the any nation in the developed stage. So we are celebrating this as a commemorate of the discovery of the Raman effect by the Sir C.V. Raman, that was done actually in the 1928. He has received even the Nobel Prize for that. Since 1986 onwards, we are actually celebrating this in acknowledging this the baseline work conducted by Sir C.V. Raman. If you look at back, the kind of the science and the technology that was developed in our nation, you need to remember that the green revolution, which was made a lot of change in the agriculture sector. So earlier we used to even the get the grain food grains even from the outside. Now we are in the stage of even the exporting the food grains to the outside. And even we need to remember our former scientists, mainly some of them actually I'm mentioning like Sir C.V. Raman or the Homi Baba, who has been given us the nuclear technology to this country, and Dr. Abdul Kalam, who was even our president also. He has contributed significantly to the both defense and the space technology. And Vikram Sarabhai, who is the one who has been established ISRO in our nation, and J.C. Bose, who is well known for all of us, we have been the significantly contributed to the science of this to this nation. So, if even though our farmers have given a lot and given the base for us to do the research, that is being continued in the present by the different scientists in the various sectors. Now, I will give you an example from the background I'm coming from in the oceanography, where uh, the present slogan for the country is that how much we can able to gain the energy from the ocean, that we call as a blue carbon. The from the oceans we can able to get the energy, food, and and also the different kinds of the resources which we are able to get it, actually try to excavate that, and so that that will contribute significantly to the GDP of this nation. Now, way back in the 1980s, actually, the National Institute of Oceanography, our laboratory actually identified the manganese nodules, because there is a lot of clumps of the iron, manganese, and chromium. These nodules are available in the Indian Ocean. Now, as a part of the Deep Ocean mission, for which 10,000 crores have been sanctioned by by the Honorable Prime Minister, as a part of that, we are actually preparing a kind of a vessel in which we can able to reach to the bottom of the sea, something like a 6 kilometers from the surface of the ocean, where trying to develop a technology to remove these resources from there into the earth surface. Once we can able to get these resources from there, for the next 1,000 years, actually our requirement for these metals actually will be enough for us to sustain. Similarly, we are working in the hydrothermal vents, like a volcanic activity that happens actually in on the earth surface. Similar things also happens under the sea, where from the core of the earth, the several rare earth elements, there are several very unique elements actually comes from there. They get precipitated once they reach into the ocean bottom, because of the temperatures are quite cooler there compared to the from where the lava is coming from the hydrothermal vents. So we are looking towards getting these chemicals from there, because it's very challenging to get the such kind of material from the 6,000 meters from the surface. The new technologies are being developed to get these resources from there into the surface, so that they can be utilized for the various functions. Mainly they are being utilized in the field of aviation and also the electronic sectors. And now you know that many of the resources on the land side actually they are getting depleted, because for the several decades we are being removing them. But there are a lot of resources are being available on the ocean bottom, mainly from the close to the coast to the 200 kilometers toward the offshore. We call them as a exclusive economic zone, where the lot of all those resources are belongs to our country. So since we have the very long coast of about the 10,000 kilometers, so the lot of resources are available from there. That is where we are targeting to identify those resources, including the petroleum resources or the gas resources or the living or the non-living resources, so that we can able to bring them out. That will be useful for the our nation build up, and also contribute significantly to the GDP of this nation. So what actually mainly want to say to the students community, because even the slogan for this year is mainly to targeting the youth. Many of you actually you know that the India is the one of the engineers developing engineers are being produced in this country. Most of the engineers, what they are typically ending up into the software field. I'm not actually against to the any software field. I mean to say that some of you actually must come at least into the research field, so that you can able to contribute how we can able to develop the ocean based the energy to get it from there. Because like you have a tidal energy, you can able to get it on the ocean energy coming from the currents or the waves. The lot of energy can be generated from there. There a lot of work is being done mainly in the European and the US countries. But from our country, not many engineers are actually coming into this field. But there's a lot of scope to develop such kind of technologies from there, so that we can able to contribute into the energy sector significantly. And uh, we have the facilities in this country, not far, on par with any developed nation. We also have the supercomputing system. Even recently the new one has been installed at Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology in Pune, exclusively to work on the atmospheric and oceanic research. We have the all required uh, uh, technologies available with us. Only we require the fascinated people who can able to contribute to this kind of research, so that so new innovations will come from the oceanic background. So whereas the space technology is now picking up quite well, as you all know that we have even that our instruments have touched the moon, and also looking forwards to send even the human there, and also looking forward for the Mars and even other planets as well. Even there, I could see that the lack of people, fascinated people, going even into the ISRO, where they always open, they never advertise. Actually, always people who are interested, they can able to apply into that. The defense research, if you look at, there's a significant enriched new technologies have come up into the defense. Now almost we are trying to be independent in many of the weapons which are required in the defense field, where also the significant contribution is required from the youngsters to contribute to that. So therefore, don't end up your studies at the stage of the BTech and going into the jobs and so on. But you need to contribute into the research field, because that is where the nation can be built up in a much better stage. So therefore, I request the students to contribute and actively into the research and for the nation build up. And I wish you all a very happy the National Science Day, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable words. Now, I would like to request Dr. Kailash Rao, Director SPA Bhopal, to share his insights.
Thank you. At the outset, I thank Professor Ramesh, Director SPA Vijayawada, for inviting me to give this talk. And thank you, Dr. VVSS Sharma ji, for your valuable words on the scientific aspects and developments of our country. And it's indeed a great honor and a privilege for addressing my own school. As you all know, this is my SPA Vijayawada is my parent institution, and I'm highly indebted to Vijayawada for whatever that I am today. Sir has focused on the scientific advancements of country, the current needs of it, scientific requirements of it, and the temperament that has to be induced into the younger generations uh, for taking the country forward and towards its a bright future. However, since I'm from the background of a heritage studies, I would like to focus a little bit on the knowledge that we already have it in terms of traditions, perhaps science, technology, design. These are all eventually lead to the has to help innovation for better human centric development part of it. One difference between the other scientific developments elsewhere outside this nation to this nation is this value-based innovations that happens in our country, which are basically rooted in our traditions, perhaps which are connected with our spiritual development. Science with the spiritual development has been one of our way of looking at it. It has been a holistic approach towards it. Perhaps the West never recognized these scientific aspects which are there and embedded into the our national approaches. Perhaps many a times they were also a sort of a looked down upon. Perhaps maybe those who have understood uh, the science which has been used as a weapon in the colonial times. Perhaps they came and said that everything that the east side that we have, eastern side, the science with the spirituality was kept aside as perhaps maybe non-scientific and almost projected it as a sort of a blind faith or a belief system. Perhaps they have used their own science or technology to prove it. I think if we really look at the Indian freedom struggle, the contribution of Indian scientists has been one of the area which has been highly neglected or rather never uh, talked about aspect of it, whether it Sir C.V. Raman or Dr. Bose's works. Perhaps they were a sort of an answer to the West, saying that yes, the Indian science has always had this kind of a innovation for the human good part of it. Coming to the field of the planning and architecture part of it, we all learn, we all hear that the so-called the best planned city in India has happened only after independence, maybe Chandigarh as example, or which has been the various planning principles or other things have been told that they have come from European or a Western or a colonial thought processes. What about our own cities, which have been there for thousands of years? And if you really look at the examples of, down south, Madurai or Srirangam, or not just only those kind of cities, even a smallest settlement of India, always had a certain kind of a holistic approach towards its development. And perhaps maybe they do not feature in our curriculum, or maybe perhaps maybe in our own mainstream thought process as an inspiration for sustainable cities or buildings and architecture, which is part of our, which has evolved over a period of time. Maybe the majority, I suppose, the audience are architects and planners. But it is a time to relook at our own Indian knowledge systems, which are time tested, which is also holistic in terms of a development of the entire community or a city or a nation in a larger context part of it. So there has to be much more uh, the word I always say that a rediscovery of our own knowledge systems, the kind of studies that we need to focus upon to relook into the traditional wisdom that we always had, whether it is a planning of the cities, whether it is a building this, architectural knowledge or water management system or the traditional management of the settlements. All these things are being there in a little hidden way. Perhaps when you I mean recently one of the largest event on the earth, if I can say, that is Kumbh Mela, which has gathered more than 66.5 crores of people. This is a kind of a gathering which is happening from time immemorial. Maybe perhaps people don't talk about the huge management systems which are involved because they do not show as a very implicit or explicit approach towards managing such a large crowd management part of it. However, that has been happening, from perhaps we don't even know from what time this has been happening. So if I really look at it, that kind of a large scale crowd management part of it coming across the all over the country, perhaps maybe from large parts of the this thing. How does such a grand event happens seamlessly? How do the people know to come in certain place on a particular day based upon certain certain principles of whatever the time, other things. So how does it such a large events do take place? And the 66.5 crores is not a normal number. It is perhaps maybe barring few countries. I think the rest of the civil number of populations could be put together may not be this thing. Maybe both the US and Russia's population cannot be together. Maybe what the event has taken place. The idea what I'm trying to tell here is that there has been such kind of a approaches of managing, and I'm sure there is a huge amount of science. Perhaps may not be recognizable in the today's terminology as science, but certainly these are all integrated in my humble opinion. All these things are looking at a large scale, understanding traditional knowledge, just which are part of not only conceiving such ideas and also executing such ideas, and also which can become an integral part of the nation's larger perceptions part of it. So maybe it is time, I would say, that the decolonization of our thought process is also important. Whatever that we have been told that this is the way of doing it, that is the way of doing it from the Western perspective, has to be re-looked into it. There are innumerable examples of where this country has shown the world the ways to do it. Perhaps maybe we didn't have this idea of patenting any of this knowledge system. This country always has believed in um, sharing the knowledge rather than patenting and making it as their own these things. If you really look at the saints or sages or great gurus who never, I think, put a authorship or you don't find any kind of a claiming that is his or her knowledge system. It's always believed to be for a common good for the larger interest of the public. So I think after the very detailed deliberation by Professor Sharmaji, mine was more looking at the approaches to look at our own sciences based in our traditional values and knowledge systems rather than getting into the finer details of it. So I thank SP Vijayawada for giving this opportunity. and thank my friends and colleagues who are sitting there and the students for patiently listening to me. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. I now request our esteemed director, Professor Dr. Ramesh Srikonda, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon to all. Hello. Honorable Dr. VVSS Sharmaji, Chief Scientist, Distinguished Dr. Kailash Rao, Conservation Architect and Director Bhopal, and my dear students, deans, HOD, and all faculty members and staff. The theme of this Science Day, as you know it very well, that is empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science and innovation for Vikasit Bharat. It's especially this particular talk is given by VVS Sharmaji, looking into the oceanography and how our engineers or students has to focus in different areas where innovation and science specific to that particular area, and wherein our own director like Bhopal or Kailash Rauji specifically mentioned about Indian knowledge systems, how it has to be integrated into our day-to-day life, understanding about the knowledge, in what way we can able to bring science temperament among our students. First, we have to think about the kind of a subjects what we are learning in SPA Vijayawada, and how extent we are making our subjects, our programs in more towards the scientific way, so that we will be in a position to nurture ourselves to look into that direction to become global leaders in that particular area. That is our main task and main thinking how we are going to make it. For instance, if you take the landscape architecture, we talk more about the soft and hard landscape surfaces where we can able to bring like ecological balance, and at the same time patch connectivity and understanding about the landscape and all other items, how it can be made useful to the large public, what the city, it may be a region, it may be a village. So for that reason, what we are doing, we are understanding about and also using the environment to understand about the outdoor thermal comforts which it is going to generate. And also we can use that particular software which scientifically been designed to understand how we can able to mitigate the heat island effect, what nowadays we are keep talking about it. Similarly, like if you see urban design, the wayfinding theories, cognitive theories, and space syntax methods, all these items which makes that particular space in an urban area, either it may be a square, it may be a street picture, it may be a areas where it is getting connected to the walkabilities and other things. All these items, when we are addressing it, you are addressing it in a scientific manner with the say, space syntax and wayfinding theories. Then, as you know it very well, the subject purely carved in our program, that is a sustainable architecture, especially focusing towards the thermal comforts and also giving the due consideration to the mitigations of the climate change, where we really focus it on three distinct areas of thermal energy, embodied energy, illumination energy. All three energies, it is all purely related to the building science. Unless you are not understanding about the building size specifically and thermal behavior of the materials, you are not in a position to address the things effectively. You are not in a position to get the results what exactly we want. That is how these kind of a programs in our SPA Vijayawada, we have curated and carved to make the students to understand the scientific way of dealing the things about our subjects. Then comes to the urban design. Any product what we design, a critical design thinking that has to be inculcated in among the students. Unless you are not knowing about any product, the materials what you use it to the product, and the chemical, physical, and other properties of the each and every material, how it has to be used, where you will be using, in what way it will be useful to the particularly functionally, how it have to make it very strong, and then it has to live for a long time. At the same time, the material understanding, unless you are not having the scientific temperament, you cannot understand the material and material related properties. So many subjects like that, what we are having in architectural conservation, that you know it very well, how we really detail it out, a complicated temple structures with a lidar based surveys and shape files creating to it and going to the extent of the 1 millimeter by millimeter detailing, so that you will be in a position to understand and able to conserve such kind of an areas, either it may be a temple or any other areas, any other built form, which we are really working out in that particular line. And then there are softwares which we use it for the conservation. That is ferrocene and photogrammetry is one essentially required. Unless you are not really having this kind of an understanding, addressing any kind of a problem, it is not so easy at all. Then take the building engineering and management. There are events and activities for every project what we deal. There are a lot of risks. There may be a risk of financial risk, technical risk, and time space activities and all we have to see about it, and costing of that one. All other items, it has to be dealt very scientifically, that earlier we used to work out on the per ton CPM. Now there are so many scientific programs we have got it. Other than that, where we can able to address and complete the entire building within the given schedules with due consideration to the machinery, what we have got it nowadays in a most effective way to use it, where to use it and how to use it, how we can able to bring the within a shortest time we will be in a position to complete the building. This is a kind of a scientific tools what we have got, Microsoft projects and the BIM, you know it very well, where to make how to understand the particular services to run properly, and then areas to be worked out in a properly, and estimate to be brought in a shortest time, and addressing the problem wherever it has got. That BIM software is in a position to address all such kind of a things. Then MURP, you know it very well, the urban and regional planning, mostly in this area where GIS based, ArcGIS based software we will use it, even including the water related problems, the terrain modeling we can able to do, and we can able to think about how the floods can be mitigated, how the upper lands can be designed, and then lands related to the lower lands related to the flood and other things. Whenever there is a problem, in what way it has to be addressed. So many softwares and scientific way being dealt, all such items it is available to us, even including environment planning, pollution control systems, the machinery what we have got, equipments what we have got, in what way we have to create a kind of a proper environment. All such kind of a things we are having it in our SPAV. We want our students to get equipped with all kind of a scientific temperament and use of these softwares. And also you can write the programs once you know very well about the algorithms of each and everything through the MATLAB, because that way you can think then in what exactly we can really improve our knowledge. That is what the empowerment that specifically this particular science day is mentioned to us. How do we bring this kind of a science temperament to empower our students? So having this, if you have this kind of a temperament and using of the tools whatever we are having, and also you can challenge the tools also, the way kind of a things what you have to use it, whether it is really going to work out for the real time situation or it is only a virtual. All these things we can able to think of, we can work, and we can see in what way we can make ourselves strong in our subjects, in our programs whatever we have. In addition to that one, in coming future, we are going to have artificial intelligence lab, AR, VR, IoT, and even ML, machine learning. All these items related labs we are going to establish, so that you can empower yourself. You can be there always in a global scenario. You will be the best, going to be the best leaders in particular subject. Wish you all the best. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us. Under your leadership and continuous support, we are always able to host such knowledgeable events and talks. Well, science shapes the world we live in and embodies curiosity, discovery, and pushing boundaries. To take this vision forward, I now invite our esteemed faculty members and students for a series of insightful talks. The first one talks about role of youth in Viksit Bharat 2047 by Siddharth Suresh, President, Students' Council, School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada.
Good afternoon to Honorable Director, esteemed dignitaries, respected faculty, staff, and dear students who have gathered here. So it's my privilege to stand in before you today to speak about something that holds the power to define our future. Viksit Bharat 2047, a vision that aspires to make India a fully developed nation by the time we celebrate 100 years of independence. With nearly 20% of youth residing in our nation, we are having the best and the winners the histories. Also, we are not just the winners of the histories, we are also the makers of the history. Our actions today will decide whether India emerges as an economic superpower, a hub of innovation, and also a global leader in the years to come. The ambitious vision is not just a government initiative, it is call for action for every citizen, especially the youth. India is the youngest country in terms of having more than 50% of population below the age of 30. This means that the responsibility of shaping India lies in the shoulders of the youth. If we want to see a Viksit Bharat, the most we have to do is embrace innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. Every student here has the power to be a job creator than a job seeker. Viksit Bharat 2047 initiative is a transformative roadmap laid out by our Honorable Prime Minister, focusing on a nation where every citizen has opportunity and access to resources. A self reliant India driven by innovation, green energy, and digital transformation, and also youth empowerment. But how do we as a youth contribute to this grand vision? The National Youth Policy 2014 has already laid a strong foundation for education, skill development, and entrepreneurship. The upcoming revised National Youth Policy will further align our efforts with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, further unlocking the full potential of the young minds. But are we ready to step up and use them? The world is evolving rapidly, and so must we. The government is promoting Skill India, Digital India, and new education policy to ensure that every young Indian is equipped with the future ready skills. The time to invest in yourself is now. Let it be AI, robotics, coding, green energy, finance, whatever that excites you, because Viksit Bharat will be built by skilled Indians. The upcoming National Youth Policy 2030 will focus on ensuring every young Indian has the access to the tools and education needed to thrive in global economy, and we have to take advantage of it. The developed nation is not just about GDP and skyscrapers. It's about the values, inclusivity, and integrity. Viksit Bharat is a dream where every Indian, rich or poor, urban or rural, has the equal access to opportunities. Our Prime Minister has said, youth power is both the agent of change and also the beneficiary of the change. Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue has been launched to give young Indians a direct role in the shaping the policies of tomorrow. To all the youth of this nation, India is calling you to the next chapter where we will be leading and embracing it. History will remember this generation and the younger generation as the one that transformed India. In 2047, when we celebrate 100 years of independence, how do you want to see your nation? And the answer lies in what actions you take today. We let's stand tall knowing that we have played our part in making or shaping a new India, a Vikasit Bharat. Future is not something that we step into, it is something we create. So let's create it together with this innovative mindset. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Siddharth. Let's encourage him again with another round of applause. Next, we'll hear about urban planning for a sustainable future, unleashing Indian youth's potential for global leadership by Dr. Naina Gupta, Assistant Professor, Department of Planning, School of Planning and Architecture.
A very good morning to one and all. respected chief guest, respected director, respected faculty, and all our dear students. On behalf of the head department of planning, I am here to speak on occasion of the National Science Day, a day to celebrate the transformative power of science and technology and their role in shaping a better and more sustainable future for all. So, as we mark this National Science Day, we recognize the role that science and technology has played in tackling the challenges of our time, particularly related to the urbanization, the climate change, and resource scarcity. These challenges demand innovative, forward thinking solutions, and it is science and technology that lies at the heart of these problems and the solutions that we are looking for. So, as students of planning and architecture, you are well positioned to drive this particular transformation. And unlike any other generation, you have grown in an era where technology, sustainability, all these are not some far distant concepts. These are the part of your everyday life. The tools, the ideas, and platforms that are available to you are unparalleled in their ability to address the pressing issues we are facing in our urban environments. With access to the advanced tools like GIS, data analytics, AI, you have the power to design cities that are not only just functional but also sustainable, people centric, as well as futuristic. Globally, many cities have or countries have already implemented various innovative solutions from green buildings to smart infrastructure to smart grids, eco friendly urban designs, electric vehicles, smart traffic management, hyperloop, drone deliveries. Innovation has been reshaping most of it. And these are just few of the examples of how the science and technology is actively shaping the future of the cities around the world. And to the students who have gathered today, I'd say it's now your turn. It's the future of planning and architecture is in your hands, and just like in line with the theme of this year's National Science Day, that empowering the youth for the global leadership. So the world is waiting for your vision, your contributions to build this Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Nana ma'am. Next, we will have an insight on Amrut Funded Center of Urban Planning for Capacity Building at SPA Vijayawada by Professor Dr. Ayon K. Tarafdar.
So, good morning to all of you. I extend my greetings to all the dignitaries, my faculty, colleagues, staff, students here on the day of where we are trying to celebrate scientific thinking, National Science Day. I take this opportunity to briefly talk about the Center for Urban Planning and Capacity Building, which has been granted by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs to SPA Vijayawada. This why this particular theme on National Science Day? Because as told by my previous speakers, that when we study architecture and planning, it is very much science. There is a lot of scientific tools in it, and even though it has a good amount, substantial amount of creativity in it, but we cannot do the designs without taking into account science or the scientific temperament. Now, the Center for Capacity Building related to urban planning, which has been granted by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, is an indirect celebration of our scientific thinking, our capacities in this scientific way of working in the field of planning and architecture. Now, I briefly share some information and raise our awareness of what we are already doing. Many of you may be knowing about it, but some of the students who might not be knowing of what is happening under this center, this is an opportunity to briefly go through it over 3-4 minutes. So this is called Amrut Center of Urban Planning for Capacity Building, and the theme on which this center is working is climate resilient urban planning and design with a focus on coastal vulnerability. Now, very briefly, on in July 2023, this journey started when SPA Vijayawada sent a proposal to set up a center of excellence, and after almost a year of various presentations and submission of various proposals, which you all know happens when we try to set up something big. Finally, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, which is a different ministry than Ministry of Education, under which our college is. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs looks more into town planning, built form, architecture, planning, etc. And all the different urban development authorities and corporations in our country are predominantly guided by this ministry in the center, and they recognized SPA Vijayawada as one of the 5 centers in our country who would be doing research and training in the field of urban planning and also architecture over the next few years with specific funding. So what was the idea under which this center was set up? So there were 5 functions which were thought of under the center, the predominant being capacity building or training. So the ministry wanted SPA Vijayawada to train uh, planners, architects, urban designers across the nation who are in their mid career, who are professionals already, to train them with the latest tools and techniques so that the different cities in our country, which are governed and administered by these technical people, they continue to get administered and governed in a more scientific way. So their skills get upgraded. Secondly, they wanted us to do specific research projects which help us develop solutions for various cities in our country. And they also wanted us to develop a spatial data infrastructure, become advisors to various government agencies, and also collaborate with specific industry which deals with our discipline. So we developed this concept into much more detailed workflows, and then we also were asked by the ministry to specifically focus on 4 principles while we do these 5 functions which you saw on the screen. And these 4 principles are to ensure that the projects have an element of equity. It has people centricism in its thought. There is an element of resilience in every project and training we do, and it has to be very much data driven and computing based. Now this is the theme, and very briefly how we started this work about 4 months back. In October this center started. So we had a thought process that any project or training which we do, there will be certain element of climatic inventorying or climate or environment related data has to be at the core of it. There has to be certain element of climatic analysis also built into our projects and trainings, and then it has to merge with the traditional planning analytics in order to come out with solutions. So this was the idea, which was the reason why this center was granted by the ministry. And under these we had specific sub things. I won't get into those. Like for example, under the climate take inventorying, we had a particular focus on dealing with heat or flood or cyclone or any other risk which can develop from climatic conditions. And similarly, there were some analysis oriented sub themes which we worked on. And then this gets added with the traditional urban planning and urban design so that it comes out with solutions which can be used by municipalities. Now, what are the things which are going on? So to start with, I'll quickly tell you about some of the things which have happened in the last 4 months. Uh, we have started executive development programs, and as I said, these programs are aimed at working professionals, mid-career, upskilling or skill enhancement for officials. Even though that many students from different parts of the country, including from our campus, are also attending these programs, and most of these programs are either 3-day or a 5 to 7 day. And so they are quite detailed in taking all the participants deep into certain analytical focus and making them learn certain skills and computing exercises linked with planning, climate, and related uh, dimensions. And now, under the executive development program, we have already completed two such programs. One is project management techniques on urban planning, another is coastal resilience planning and management. And these programs were widely attended by participants from across India, and they are not theoretical programs. For each of these programs, there is hands-on learning of certain software. There is a site visit, and data is used within these 3 days so that they come up with solutions. And under the larger format 7 day programs, we have had a program on combating heat extremes, and also a hands-on exercise on simulation of urban environment. So all these are already over, and there is an upcoming training program in March which is looking particularly into natural resource management within cities. All these programs are not for once. It will again repeat after a few weeks, so for other government officials, other participants. Now these are some snapshots of, like, for example, in this program of coastal resilience, the coastal regulatory zone officials of Andhra Pradesh government were also involved. So they shared with us and the participants how they handle and analyze the coast and its ecosystems, and how they come up with the planning norms. And of course, there was a majority of the inputs was from SPA Vijayawada trainer side. Similarly, we had project management in detail. So I'll quickly go through the images. And then there was also this combating heat extremes. So these are some glimpses. And now upcoming, there are 4 or 5 more trainings which are going to happen in next 2-3 months, which is based on land resource optimization, GIS applications, safe mobility, urban transport, and disaster risk informed planning, and also related to carrying capacity based planning, etc. So there are these themes get finalized in consultation with state governments from South India who are interested to come and get trained. So now quickly about the projects. There are 5 projects which have started in the month of December. One is focused in Vijayawada, which is related to low emission zones. One is in Tirupati, which is about energy efficient spatial planning. Then there is in Hyderabad, related to how to deal with heat at the local sub-city level. In Machilipatnam, how to deal with flood. And in Amravati, to develop emergency vehicle movement, optimized movement, routing. So we are predominantly addressing these issues: air, water, mobility, and heat energy, which is concurrent with our overall center's theme. And the projects a little bit more. These are 8 to 10 months projects. Some projects are 6 months and some are 10 months, and these are not actually laboratory based theoretical projects. These are projects which are getting done with a specific team. So for example, these 2 projects on the screen, one is related to low emission zone in the old core part of Vijayawada, and energy efficient building bylaws oriented planning for Tirupati. There are specific faculty who are leading these projects with co-faculty, other members, and specifically project hired research officers. And these projects are done in close collaboration with the municipal corporation, concerned municipal corporation or development agency. So under the smaller sized projects, sub-city level projects, as I said, there are 3 projects. The titles are exactly on the screen. Now, for each of these projects, if you want more information, if you go to our website, it gives more details about the project flow, the methodology, the software getting used, when it will finish, and at what stage it is, who are the people working on it. Everything is there on our website. And there are 3 more projects upcoming. We are in talks with some local authorities in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So there might be a project starting very soon, which is on water sensitive development in Amravati as well as Bengaluru, and also something which is on land value capture in Chennai. So these are about the projects. And so these are the 3 projects which may come up, which will add our portfolio in also working on land and ground and surface water. So there was advocacy also as one of the activity or government advisory. So we are there is going to be some reports coming out in the next couple of months. They are in mid analysis stage, which is looking into land management and also vulnerability assessment related to disasters. So these will be like toolkits which local authorities can use when they make develop plans. And we are also doing some government advisory in terms of evaluating some of the schemes which government has already implemented, like smart city schemes, and how whether they are have reached a certain amount of efficiency or they are having any impact on the cities. So those kind of work has also been given to us, and it is under advanced process. So that's all. And you have to go to this site to uh, see more about the center. And this is our website, and on the our SPA Vijayawada website, on the home page there is a button, and if you click from there it takes you to the main page. So I'm not going into the web page, but I'm showing you because in your spare time you can have a look at what is going on in this center. And yeah, so in summary, this is according to us, it's actually a real platform where one can leverage, we can leverage, SPA Vijayawada can leverage collaborative scientific R&D in the field of climate sensitive development and planning. So generally universities and colleges focus on teaching, giving degrees and making graduates understand a particular subject, in our case planning and architecture. But there are universities in the west and in our country like IITs and of course like SPA Vijayawada, which also indulges in R&D, which is beyond just teaching, developing research which local urban bodies or people, citizens can adopt. And for that we have got this funding. It is something which is a feather in our cap. So thank you. So this is very much about related to National Science Day, because we are doing everything using scientific thinking. So all the people who are here who listening about this for the first time, you're most welcome to also come and work in the center. Many faculty sitting here and who are out in the field are very closely involved. So these activities are by a group of a lot of faculty in our campus. And this whole vision and this making this a possibility would not have been possible without Professor Dr. Ramesh, our director, who originally conceptualized this and pushed us all towards making the proposal, and at every stage he's overall coordinating it. So thank you the organizers here for giving this platform to showcase about something which is very much about SPA Vijayawada and science. So I take this forward from here. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for elaborating about the programs related to Amrit. Learning is a journey and it comes through thorough listening. So, thank you to all our esteemed speakers, chief guests, and directors, sir, for sharing their knowledge and insights with us today. A great round of applause for all, not only for sharing their knowledge, but also letting us learn with them. Science not only rewards knowledge, but also recognizes creativity and innovation. It's now time for prize distribution ceremony for the winners of the ideas of for education, poster making and innovative idea pitch competitions. I request our director sir to come and give away the prizes for the competitions. I also request Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Iyer to come up on the dais. The first competition was innovative idea pitch, and the first prize goes to Shantanu.
Shantanu, you can say it here.
Hello everyone. So this is my project. In this, what I did, it is the app which tell us about what are the different recipes and what are the different ingredients needed to make any dish. Like it is not a just normal app. Like when I came from Maharashtra to Vijayawada, I got to know Punagodu, different sites. So different ingredients were needed, but I was not knowing that what is related and how it is made. So it is very beneficial. Like YouTube, you can see the video, you can comment on it, and you will get the description, how much time, how much calories are burned, how much healthy it is. It will give you a diet plan as well, and this is the whole oversight of the app. Like this is the information architecture related to it. This was the technologies like geolocation, blockchain integration, and support chat box and dynamic nutrition analysis. So this was the app. This was my problem statement, like wherever there is a lack of awareness regarding the sensibility and seasonal availability of food in their localite, that result to poor meal planning. So this was the app and this was the problem identification, and this is the interface. So this is how the app works in different field. That's it. Thank you.
A thing worth mentioning is all of this is done in 3 days' time. And not only for him, all the other prize winners and all the participants, they have the time given to them was only 3 days.
The second competition was related to ideas for education and architecture, and the first prize goes to Bhupendra.
Good afternoon to the gathering, and I am architect Bhupendra. So basically, architecture is something providing solution for our society. With that, from very few years, I'm working on the action of drug eradication in the society, which is this is my second article, and this is my second paper on this particular research. And so basically, how architect can think is what society can make. This is what I believe in, and with that approach, I have titled it as neuroscience informed architecture, uh, a way to approach to eradicate drugs in the society. So we can incorporate technology, we can incorporate our informativeness, we can incorporate all our conceptual thought processes that would make architecture as a solution. So I will not go so detailed. Just this is a glimpse of the article. Thank you.
The second prize is for Lipi. Lipi Srivastav. She's not present here. The next competition was poster making. First prize goes to Akhil A. Second, Ojas. Third prize is to Rishwant. No, no, the name. Next time. He's not given the name. Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I'm extremely thankful to my team, Institute Innovation Center team, for having conducted everything seamlessly in terms of the competition, the posters, uh, the jury, and also this program. As a small gratitude, we would like to felicitate Mr. Rohan and Miss Komal with a small memento. Thank you so much for having done this within such a short time. Of course, the vote of thanks will come, and I have other team members who will also be thanked. But a special thanks to Komal and Rohan.
Once again, thank you, sir and ma'am, for recognizing us. It's a great sort of encouragement for us. As we come to the end of today's inspiring celebration, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this event a grand success. I now invite Mr. Rohan Agarwal, Assistant Professor and member of IIC, to deliver the vote of thanks.
As, as we gather here to celebrate the essence of scientific inquiry and innovation, let us recall the inspiring words of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Science is a beautiful gift to humanity. We should not distort it. We are also reminded that our ancient traditions are the fertile soil in which the seeds of scientific discovery take root and flourish. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my great honor to extend this vote of thanks on behalf of the School of Planning and Architecture Vijayawada as we conclude our National Science Day 2025 program and celebration. First and foremost, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. VVSS Sharma, Chief Scientist and Scientist in Charge at the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, National Institute of Oceanography, Vishakhapatnam, and Dr. Kailash M. Rao, Director of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal, School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. Apologies. Sir, your presence and enlightening keynote address have encouraged our students to deepen their scientific pursuits and harness innovation for the betterment of our nation. A special note of thanks to Mr. Komapalli Shastri, National Secretary, Vijayana Bharati, Vibha, for partnering this occasion of National Science Day. My sincere appreciation goes out to Professor Dr. Ramesh Rikonda, Director, School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, for the unwavering support and guidance that helped making this event a reality. Your leadership continues to motivate everyone at School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, to aim higher in our academic and professional endeavors. I wish to acknowledge our head of departments, Dr. Srinivas Dakati and Dr. Prashant Vardhan, deans, registrars with the account section, faculty members, and distinguished speakers whose thought-provoking talks enriched this celebration. Your insights have broadened our horizon and encouraged us to think creatively in our respective domains. A special thanks to Dr. Vijayalakshmi Iyer, Vice President, Institute Innovation Council and DIC, School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, for her pivotal role in coordinating and driving the innovation spirit of School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada. Her commitment and vision have helped shape this day successful. A heartfelt thank you to entire organizing committee, IIC and DIC representatives, and student volunteers for your dedication in ensuring every detail of this event as executed seamlessly. Your hard work behind the scenes is truly commendable. To all the participants and winners of the competitions, congratulations. Your enthusiasm, innovative ideas, and presentations have added immense value to this occasion. May this serve as a catalyst to your continued growth in the world of science and research. Finally, thank you to all our guests, our precious supporters from IT, housekeeping, and air conditioning staff for keeping this event wonderful, and the attendees for gracing us with their presence. Your involvement have made this National Day truly memorable. As we conclude, let's carry forward the spirit of science, curiosity, and innovation. Thank you all once again, and Jai Hind.
With that, we officially conclude the National Science Day 2025 celebrations. Thank you everyone for your presence and participation. Let's continue to explore, innovate, and lead towards a better future. Have a great day ahead, and let's keep the spirit of science alive. To conclude this prestigious event, let's all rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे